CX University is going to offer options for people who feel a need to be better educated, courses that they can take. For those that feel they have enough experience in education, they can come in and try out what the tests might be like and get some kind of a practice of what they can expect. It's not unlike what we as parents would want our children to do to get prepared for SATs, to get into college or for graduate school.
Good analog. All right, so let me double back. What is the difference between customer experience and patient satisfaction, customer satisfaction, phrases that have been around for a long time?
Exactly what you've just said. You've used the term satisfaction. From my perspective, satisfaction is one significant component of the totality of the experience people have. And so for me, customer experience or patient experience or experience per se is a far more complex phenomena than satisfaction. And so what we have understood over time is that if we truly want to fully understand human behavior, so that you can build relationships with people over time and intimate relationships that result in higher business performance from the corporate standpoint, a much more satisfied and loyal following from the customer population standpoint, that we address the complexity that experience presents itself to us with.
This may be a rather mundane example of it, but what occurs to me as you're describing it is Coke. Coke is a strong brand. If I enjoy my Coke and the Coke I've become accustomed to over many, many years, there's a certain taste, a certain relationship I have with that brand. When they tried to change the Coke formula, all of a sudden it was not a good experience. It was a bad customer experience. Is that a fair analogy to try to explain the relationship I have with a brand or a product or a service or a transaction?
Well, that's part of it.
It's a visceral kind of
that's part of it. I think what you said, Rick, is you've given an example of the response to the use of a product.
Yes.
So the consumption of Coke, in terms of its taste, its texture, its temperature, has an impact on the human palate and the consumption experience. But there are a whole bunch of attendant variables that are important to the human mind, such as for instance, does Coke adopt and adhere to an ethical set of principles in its business practice? That impacts how people respond to the brand, not just the taste itself.
No, not at all.
Does it contribute to the well-being of society at large? That impacts how we perceive the brand. So there are a number of variables that come into play when one thinks about customer experience as a whole.
But from what I've read, the anatomy of customer experience starts with the transaction, the interaction, and then you work your way back to map the experience. Is that the analysis that goes into it?
I think that's an important part of the analysis because experience is more than just a transactional engagement. It is a relationship engagement, and companies that understand that they need to move beyond transaction are actually then entering into the experience space. I am reminded of a wonderful publication in the Harvard Business Review, an article and subsequently a book that a couple of authors, one of whom I know, they coined the term the experience economy. They're beginning to argue that the legacy of service as we've known it in the past is not what's relevant today, that we need to migrate towards a state where we can actually stage experiences so that people can feel fully engaged in everything that they do. And to the extent that companies can deliver that engagement, they would be able to harness the kind of loyalty that they all seek about their brands.